Today we're going to be doing a tier list for the festival part 1 2025. Here's what we got. Imagine every Legends limited at 9 stars. The Ultras at 10. That's about optimal if you invested in a unit very heavily. And this is a meta tier list, so we're considering all the factors that make PvP what it is. Not just a 1v1 between the units, but how they merge together on teams, their elements, and how their kits complement each other. Made this on stream, over 200 people there, and everybody was able to give their opinion. So if you ever see a tier list stream, you should probably pop in. It's a lot more fun and inclusive than you might think. Let's get into this. Alright, so cool. We've got 2 tiers that we're going to start from the bottom, but obviously we've got the 1 to 10. So we're starting with the fan service tier. Don't pay too much mind for the fan service tier. They're just characters that people like using. They're probably fun. They're just giving characters some screen time that might not make the top 10. They could be good, don't get it twisted, but they're not making the top 10, not good enough for that. But of course, some characters do need the screen time. For example, shout out the manga Gohan. I mess with him. Anyways, honorable mention tier. These are characters that could make the top 10 for some people, just not going to make the top 10 for my tier list, or in this case, our tier list. So we've got here the manga Goku. He's very good on the Dragon Ball Saga team, just not popular enough to make the top 10. Also not seen enough, and obviously the top 10 are obviously just better, at least in my eyes. We got Kefla, could be used on the Fusion Warrior team with the new GOGETA. A lot of people are using her more than ever right now because she's on the Janemba banner. We got Metal Cooler with the buff, Future Gohan with the buff recently, the Zenkai, Ultra Super Vegeta with Fusion Warriors, Cell with Powerful Opponent, Kaioken Goku on the same team. These are all characters that people do still rely on and do still use. I just don't think they're good enough to make my top 10. It's also not ordered, but they might make your top 10, which is why they're worth mentioning. There's also some characters that are not here because the tier list didn't have them. For example, Purple VB and Red Bojack. Both of them have a Zenkai and they're actually quite good. You could use them very effectively in PvP. I would also put them somewhat in the honorable mention tier. It's just that I only use 7 and also they aren't in the tier list to drag up. So yeah, if I had the images for them, they would be in the honorable mentions most likely. But yeah, let's get into the proper top 10. I think I'm going to go 2 at a time so I don't have to go everything individually. That'll take up a lot of time. So at number 10 and number 9, we have the Dragon Ball Saga Goku, and we've also got Full Power Frieza, the Ultra from the 7th anniversary. Now these two, it was difficult to land them here because I'm looking at the honorable mentions and you guys might feel like Metal Cooler deserves the place. You guys might feel like Future Gohan deserves the place, even Ultra Super Vegeta, whoever you think. But we're going with these two for 9 and 10. Let's start with 10. So the OG Dragon Ball Goku. This guy here, his only drawback in Dragon Ball Legends is being from OG Dragon Ball. I kid you not. It's literally just a popularity tax. I simply feel it's that a lot of people do not know that he is that valuable. You could say the same about Metal Cooler as well, but the only reason he's not on the tier list, as in the top 10, is because simply there's better options. But with the OG Dragon Ball team, it's literally one of the better teams. It's just that it's so niche, people don't see it. OG Dragon Ball Goku having Indestructible is a survivability a tier above, I would say, most of the game. That Indestructible is very, very valuable. You literally have to stop the combo. You have to stop the combo for it to untap. And even after the Indestructible, OG Dragon Ball Goku only gets better. His element being yellow, I wouldn't say it's the best of the best, but on the OG Dragon Ball team, he is protected. You've got the Jackie Chun over there, and you've also got the manga Goku, and the team is incredibly tanky. You've got the Jackie Chun mechanic, you've got the manga Goku doing excessive combos. He tanks as well, and then the Indestructible layer, plus the Dragon Ball Saga team with its equipment, and of course the OG Dragon Ball Goku got the platinum equipment. It just makes the team explode in damage. There's so much damage going around. I would say it's one of the best teams when it comes to circulating stats if you're running a full Dragon Ball Saga team, and that's the benefit of it, but that's also the downfall of it. Nobody wants to run the team, so it's really one of those ones where you're gonna have to kind of take my word for it, especially coming off the OG Dragon Ball Saga season where they were on the boost. They were actually really good, but still now OG Dragon Ball Goku can put in a lot of work, which is why he's at number 10, and I'd say he's more of a valued unit over the ones in the honorable mention because of how he carries the Dragon Ball Saga team. He is the main force of the team. Anyways, moving on to Frieza. Honestly, I was thinking of moving Frieza out of the top 10 even further to the honorable mentions. He could be 10 honorable mentions. The reason I've got him here is because I think his Death Beam is too much of a valuable component in PvP. He doesn't do as much damage as he used to. That's honestly the truth. He does tank still because he has endurance and he also has the buff cancellation, but he doesn't doesn't tank as much as he used to, but that isn't enough to set him back when offensively he can get so many priorities because of that death beam. The fact that you can tackle, sidestep, where usually if you press a strike or blast that wouldn't work, but if you got a death beam, after sidestepping it's still going to chain, and that means you can get advantages in PvP more than you would with any other unit. And just off that, with the value of the powerful opponent team right now, he is very valuable. I don't think that I would put him below Metal Cooler based on the value you can get on the offensive end, where on the defensive end he's not that far off Metal Cooler either. At first I was kind of thinking maybe we should consider Metal Cooler. Purple is actually a good element right now, low key, and also he has 3 lives. That survivability aspect with the buff that the devs gave him, he could be better than actual full power Frieza. But then I stepped back and thought, the defenses aren't that far off each other. Offensively, maybe Metal Cooler does more damage, even though I don't personally agree, but the potential to get combos started gives Frieza the edge, and I think that alone would keep him in the top 10. Just his death beam. It doesn't matter that he has survivability, just the fact that you can run the death beam consistently, you'll be able to get an advantage over your opponent more than not. You have more options and they have to be afraid of your death beam coming, and that's why Frieza's at number 9. I already explained why OG Goku is at number 10, but that's going to be the 9 and 10 slots. Let's move on to the 8 and 7 slot. Now we've got the 7 and 8. We've got Ultra Super Saiyan Goku and we've got MUI Goku. We're going to start with MUI Goku, of course. We're going 8 downwards. So MUI Goku, right? A lot of you might be thinking, how the hell is he this high up on the tier list, having fallen off and then somehow come back, and on top of that being even higher than Ultra Full Power Frieza? Well, it's simply the value of blue. Obviously it will make more sense once we get to the top of the tier list, but the value of blue is so high right now where there's not many. If anything, there's only 2 that are great in PvP, UI Goku being one of them. But something very underrated but valued by UI users is his stalling ability. The fact that he can just stand there on the PvP battlefield and nobody can touch him unless you've got a green, a blue, or a death beam, and even then you won't always have 2 in a row, right? You can vanish and then stall. You can get your main ability back, your vanish back, sorry, through the main ability and stall. There's so many ways to use UI Goku that he is effective even if his defenses aren't the greatest. And in my opinion, his defenses aren't even bad, especially while he's increasing the enemy's cost while they extend their combo. So the fact that he has all of this available to him while being a very good blue that can punish the reds in the game right now, he is deserving of the number 8 spot in my opinion. It's just that he has more value where he's more necessary than other units that wouldn't be necessary. For example, even though we have Full Power Frieza here at 9, right? I don't necessarily think UI Goku is better than Full Power Frieza, but as per the meta, if we consider other units available in the meta, you don't need Full Power Frieza because there's other powerful opponents that would take the places on the team before you even consider Frieza, and that's how the game has developed currently. Whereas UI Goku, or on any team that he's on, he's going to have a place on the starting roster, the main 3, so his value on his team to the meta is actually higher than Frieza's, even though you might say Frieza is better than UI Goku. I hope that makes sense. It means that UI Goku is more necessary to fight against what's in the PvP meta right now, which you will see as we go forward in the tier list. And with Ultra Super Saiyan Goku, it's a similar thing. With him being yellow, it's alright element, but it's mainly 2 factors for him. The fact that at one point people would definitely say Frieza was better than Goku, but Goku's KO guard is simply indispensable. Even if he's trash, he's buns, having him on the team means that your whole team has a second life. Somebody who dies first on your team will come back. If it's Goku, he comes back. Let's say you're running UI with the Goku, he comes back. You could be running Gogeta, he comes back because of Super Saiyan Goku's KO guard. But the second factor is the fact that he locks in. When his gauge is full, if you press a strike or a blast, he's going to lock the enemy in. And with that, you could take advantage by taking somebody out, switching into someone more powerful on the team. And just off those 2 factors alone, his kit is super valuable. Let's not point out as well though, well, let's actually point it out. His blue card can do crazy damage if it's built up. He can also hit a feint, which can actually give you a crazy advantage too. He has an ultimate arch that does a lot of damage too. He's not no slouch nonetheless, but it's those 2 main things in his kit that give him so much value to any team he's on. And the fact that the leader slot exists, he can fit on every team in the game. With that KO guard, your team's life, the longevity in every single battle is going to extend. And then you put supporters on top of that and actual good units on top of that. Come on, Super Saiyan Goku, he's very valuable, and that should be non-negotiable. It's very easy to see that the KO guard is going to keep him valuable in the game for a long time, even if his damage falls off, even if his defense fall off. And if we're being honest, his defenses and offenses aren't bad. So yeah, that's the number 8 and the number 7 slot. Now these 2 here, people might not be happy about. out, we've got Janemba at number 6 and we've got Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta at number 5. We're gonna start with Janemba. Now Janemba, he's not even bad. Like, he's not bad at all. Everybody from here upwards is absolutely insane, and it's really pure micromanagement. Like, it's things that you wouldn't really consider on a day-to-day, but when you really have to super analyze it, you get down to the nitty-gritty. There are small differences that give certain characters an advantage over the other. So with Janemba, it's really that his stats aren't as great as you think they are. In his kit, they're great. His defenses, great. Disruption, great. I think the main thing that holds him back is that you have to build him up to give him his full potential. You gotta hit a green card, you gotta hit a blue card, and that adds the stats on top of his base level. But if you don't do those things, and those first two things might not do as much damage as you think they would, it will hold you back for the whole duration of the game. And when you have to super prioritize somebody that's not especially the best character in the game, even if you do those things right, he's still not the best damage output, he's still not the best defensively in the game. It kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. It's working hard for somebody that's not going to carry your team. And that's a very inefficient way of playing Legends. But he is still a safe unit because he has the endurance and the buff cancellation. But ultimately, if there's Super Gogeta on the battlefield, he's getting countered. Super Gogeta nullifying endurance all the time puts this guy at a risky position. And you will also see the value of red is very high. With right now, we're going to go into Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Now, one thing about Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta is he is going to sneak you. Right? You're thinking, alright, cool, the enemy's not doing much damage, but that's because Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta isn't on the battlefield yet. He comes in and swoops in, right? You hit the tap to switch in and he flies in. Then he hits you with a smack. Half your health is gone. And now, even if you had endurance, he can knock it out. Let's say you're at 1 HP. He can just tap attack you. And even if you have endurance and you're at 1 HP, there's still time for him to switch out to somebody like Super Gogeta, use his endurance nullification, and tap attack you. That switch into you being low health is so impactful, and it's not something you can always prep for. It's a millisecond decision that you need to think 3 steps ahead to think, oh yeah, Vegeta's gonna come in and do a lot of damage to me. God forbid you're yellow. With how many yellows are in the meta right now, Vegeta is very valuable in that respect to take you out. So we gotta give him his props. But not just that, you know, he can nullify counters, gauges, and things like that because of when his gauge is full. He has the mechanic. He also does a lot of damage through his blast darts when his gauge is full, so he can chain a bunch of cards, and it's pretty much at no cost. Overall, he's good for surviving on the battlefield, endurance and buff cancellation. All respect to Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, honestly. He's a very safe unit to run, blast type, so he pairs well with one of the best units in the game. I think overall, Vegeta is not a very popular unit right now because he's from GT, but if you are running a Saiyan team, you can make a lot of value of him on the battlefield. And I think because of that, he deserves the number 5 spot, as we agreed on the stream. Janemba might have more damage stats on him on paper, but you have to work for Janemba, whereas Vegeta, he comes like that. He comes built different. You don't have to work super hard to see the potential that he is going to put out on the battlefield. Whereas Janemba, you gotta really work to build it up. It's not a lot of effort, don't get it twisted, but you still have to prioritize him, where you could use those cards for somebody else on your team that could do it more efficiently. So yeah, that's the number 6 and the number 5 spot. Let's move into the 4 and the 3. At number 4, we've got half corrupted Zamasu, and at number 3, we have Fusion 13. Now this was a very close matchup, and these could easily be interchangeable as well, but I don't have them as that, and there's reasons for that. Like I said earlier, I'm micromanaging. That's what we were doing. It's not something you will heavily consider, but there is differences you might want to consider. So first off, if we talk about their elements, there is an element diff here. There's a lot of yellows to deal with Zamasu, where there's not many greens to deal with Fusion 13. But let's go further into Zamasu first, considering he's 4th. So with Zamasu, he has the benefits of having his, you know, attack after death, and then he's going to hit paralyze, which is very inconvenient. He also has the chance of actually fainting you a lot, which is actually annoying, but sometimes it doesn't kick in. And those two things, even though they are very effective, something I want to point out is it's not consistent or reliable. Paralyze is something that relies on RNG. It might work in your favor, it might not work in your favor, and because you're expecting it to work in your favor, it could throw you off and actually make you lose the game. On the other end, feint, you might want it to land, but then it doesn't land, and even if it does land, you might chain a card and not be able to make use of it because you don't know it's coming. So ultimately, because you're relying on the RNG factors, it's not something that's going to give you consistent results. Outside of that though, Zamasu is an amazing Rising Russian ultimate deterrent because he has his counter. When a Rising Rush comes his way, he can just switch in. When an ultimate comes his way, he can just switch in and he cancels buffs. He is going to set back the enemy at every single point. But one thing I want to point out as to why he's not 3 is simply everything I mentioned, there is a workaround for it, and that is a shame. You want to rush Zamasu, you can get him through a blast arts at mid range or long range with a Rising Rush, or even an ultimate at mid range, or you can PV him, or you could get him on the switch in with a character like Super Gogeta and I think Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta too. Outside of that, the Paralyzes RNG, I already told you, is unreliable. You can't rely on it. The Feint as well, you don't know when you're going to get it, so you can't rely on it. There's workarounds for these things, and let me also point out that for the Paralyzed, people can just cancel the abnormal condition. Super Gogeta's green card, UI Goku's immune to it, I believe, at some point. There are characters in the game that can simply remove the abnormal conditions. So even though CMZ's effects and his kit is very valuable, I'd say the key value he has is the Rising Rush deterrent, but there's still a way around that, you know? So because the fact that you can get around all of that exists, he can't be number 3, at least on my tier list. But with Fusion 13, you can't get around his second life. You just can't. There's no way around it. You have to get through that first hit where he's going to basically break your combo immediately, right? Then you're gonna have to get another priority and hope you actually take him out, because if you don't, he's going to have that second life on standby. But let's say you even manage to get the second life outright. Well, now you just gotta fight a stronger Fusion 13, right? Like, there's no way around that second life. And that is a consistent thing you can rely on. You know the results you're gonna get, so you can bank on it and plan ahead accordingly. But with CMZ, you might get it this way, you might not get it this way. Fusion 13 just being more reliable because of that, and his element being better for the meta, puts him slightly ahead, although CMZ is super frustrating. I'd even mention his combo breaks. But yeah, there's not much I need to say about Fusion 13. It's simply the fact that there's no way around what he has to offer. With CMZ, even though what he has to offer could be more devastating on the battlefield, it's not something you're going to get consistently while having a worse element. I hope that makes sense for you guys. That's the 4 and 3. Let's finish off this tier list with the 1 and 2, where I have it as 1A, 1B. Now, a lot of you expected this, but we've got Fusion Zamasu and Super Gogeta as 1A, 1B, implying that they could both be number 1. It's not a 1 and 2 interchangeable, it's literally 1A, 1B. They're that close. Let me explain why they're 1A, 1B, and I think this is literally a undisputed argument. Like, you can't get around this argument. So let's start with Fusion Zamasu, right? Because I personally am taking Super Gogeta every single time, but if you take Fusion Zamasu, you could clear Gogeta. Fusion Zamasu, right? He does everything better except one thing. He's got better defenses, he's got better disrupt, he's more likely to survive on the battlefield, he has better vanish restore, arguably, right? He's gonna do damage more consistently because he's in his base form, whereas Gogeta, he has to get to Super Gogeta. Do you get what I'm saying? All these things make Fusion Zamasu insane, but there's one factor that you're not gonna get out of him. That damage creep is nasty. That is nasty, man. Super Gogeta's damage is crazy. It's so crazy that all of that doesn't matter. Oh, you could tank against the rest of the game, right? But Super Gogeta is gonna melt you because his damage is just that step above. It's literally just that. He's coming outside with a machine gun, you know. Fair enough to Zamasu, he's coming with an assault rifle, but Super Gogeta, he's a machine gun. Everyone else holding pistols. This is literally the gap, and you can't get around that. I can try to rationalize it any other way, you know. Oh, but Fusion Zamasu does this. It's like that image of somebody trying to fully explain themselves, and they're going so hard to defend themselves, and then Gogeta is just there like, yeah, I just got better damage. And he's not talking, like, mouth closed. He's not excited. He's chilling. Just pure damage. Pure damage. Damage is actually king. When damage is so high, nothing else you offer on the table can defeat you, and that's what Gogeta is. He's literally, what he's saying, the greatest fusion of all in this case. Fusion Zamasu, you are nice, you do everything else better, and against the rest of the game, you're a dat, bruh. If he wants you out of there, he will go do it himself on feet. But with Gogeta, if he is in your face, bro, that damage gonna hit different every single time. Nothing you offer can stop him. He's that. I'd even mention that Zamasu has better healing as well, but it doesn't matter. You're not healing, bro. You gotta switch out because you know Gogeta gonna punish you. And if he's punishing Zamasu, who's 1A, 1B, the rest of the game's cooked, you know? So yeah, there's not much more to say. Zamasu's overall a better unit. You can make the argument about consistent results, but if Gogeta is in your face, it's over. Like, those consistent results are now inconsistent when Gogeta's in your face. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just that much of a level gap. And that's the end of the conversation. So that's my 1A, 1B. Everybody pretty much agreed. Fusion Zamasu does most things better, but when the damage gap is that clear, nothing you have can really make the difference. I think the analogy, just to end this hardest part I gave is that, you know, in football, some people can be so gifted in so many departments, skill moves, dribbling in general, shooting, they can have IQ, but some guys are just the fastest on the pitch. You can't catch them to set off all of the things that you can do because they're just going to sprint faster than you. So it's over. It's just over after that. So yeah, we got GOGETA and Zamasu, 1A, 1B. That's going to make the end of the video. Usually I do a segment where it's like a minute or two of me trying to think about what positions I could change. And there are some that I could change. Like I said, from 6 onwards, it's pretty much super micromanagement. But I didn't do that because we had this full discussion on stream. And I felt like the positions were quite solid to the point where there's actually no point. And I'm very confident with this tier list for the festival part 1. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are on it. I think it's a very good tier list, but of course you guys are free to your opinion. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.